I have to rebuild Ole Miss and play until I win a championship with them because they're on pace to miss out on another SEC title, and it's been over 60 years since they last won the conference. They've also never officially won a championship, and this roster's only going to get worse. So pairing that with the fact that I'll be on the hardest difficulty, and that I'm in a completely different setup because the hurricane ruined mine, we'll see if I'm able to save the Ole Miss football program. As I sit here and go through recruiting, I'm honestly just happy to be playing this game again. I haven't had power for 3 or 4 days, and just taking a look at this picture, I don't think it's coming back anytime soon. I've gone remote for the first time in my career. There's some big 5 stars I'm going after too. This wide receiver is 95 speed from Georgia, and then there's this scrambler quarterback, which is great, but what's even better is we got this 5-star linebacker from Mississippi to stay in the state. The next week, we'd sign wide receiver Earl Johansson. I'm also hoping for some more as I click through them, and I'm simply just trying to catch up to where we're at in real life right now, but there are some prospects that have fallen to second place. With a lot of players, including Jackson Dart being a senior, I pretty much need to replace every position, but my expectation is as we try to close out on some of these prospects, the other schools are just going to come in and take them. Luckily for us, though, they can't get everybody. We have signed a 5-star cornerback and also the 5-star quarterback. So as we're finally caught up to where Ole Miss is sitting at in real life at 5-2, we have the number 4 class in the country with 4 5-stars and 5 4-stars, and hopefully a couple more players coming in shortly, but these are all going to come down to the wire. We have so many extra hours a week here too at Ole Miss that I can go after all of these extra players, including this virgin that I'm trying to sign. And once again, we have kept a 5-star commit staying in the state of Mississippi. Now, I'll be playing every game in this rebuild. It's all going to start here at home against Oklahoma. And I figured we wouldn't have a great shot at the SEC title, but we're sitting at 13th in the conference. Now, I don't want to make an excuse already, but there is a window directly behind this screen. And I'm playing on Xbox instead of PlayStation, which means all the buttons are different. Now, I haven't thrown an interception yet, and we're only trailing by 1 point, so we're in a decent spot. But if we want to come out on top against Oklahoma at home, I'm going to have to lock in for these final few drives that we have. Here on 3rd and 11, we are going to need a pretty big play to move the chains. I'm just going to take it right here. That gets us the first, but the ball is on the ground, and that is the worst way we could have just fumbled. I can't be doing stuff like this in the first game. EA is already setting us up for failure. We do get over to that ball with Hamilton, though. I wasn't sure if I messed up my user or not, and this return's going to take us right back to where we were. This is pure chaos, and the entire past week has also been chaos. I spent since Sunday night looking for gas, and I couldn't find any until about a week later down in Tampa. On this 3rd down, our drag is not getting us enough, but I feel like we should be able to hit this kick and go up by 2, so we're taking it, and it's down the middle-ish. We could also get them off the field on this 3rd and 5. That would be a massive play for our D, and we were coming all over them right there. Now we could just run out the rest of this clock. They know that the run is coming, but we are just getting some amazing blocks. Bentley, the 4th, takes us to midfield, and he's still got plenty of gas left in his tank. He doesn't need somebody to fill him up. He's also breaking a tackle. So with one more first down, we can seal our win over Oklahoma, and that should be coming here. Never mind. Apparently, there's going to be about 20 seconds left. I needed to hit this field goal, though. It went wide left, and it's just hit me that I could have choked this game with that miss. All they have to do is get into field goal range, and they're going to be able to take a lead versus us. Please, play that ball. Okay, we're not going to choke against the Sooners. We're even going to get to rub it in. There's no way 87's going to be able to catch us. But that was a very, very chaotic way to start off this rebuild, and I think we have a long season ahead of us. Whether we can make the playoffs or not, though, at least we're getting another 5-star command, and that was really needed because this 5-star went to Georgia, and then this athlete chose Tennessee. Since all these teams only have 1 conference loss as well, we're not necessarily out of the SEC title hunt, and we just have to finish the season strong to get into the playoffs, though I can't believe that we're ranked above LSU. They literally just beat us, but the rest of our schedule besides number 5 Georgia doesn't look too bad, and that's going to be a huge game for this first season, but for now we have to deal with Arkansas. There is absolutely zero reason that we should lose to the Razorbacks, but of course, because we're playing on the road, it happens to be close. Jackson Dart on 3rd and 8 is going to be able to scramble for it and also make another defender miss. Keep on going. He's actually been pretty fun to use, though. We're going to have to trust our D, and I guess we have to get into the end zone first, which is going to happen right here. Being able to close out, though, is so important. We cannot let them get out of bounds, and there's still 33 seconds left on the clock. That is not great for us. I don't see how we're going to potentially even keep it close versus Georgia playing like this, but I guess this is just a good reminder that on any given Saturday, we could see a ton of upsets in college football. I feel like that's happened a lot more in real life this season just because the transfer portal changes the game, and the refs are reviewing if this is a catch or not. I really need that to not be. We're in a lot of trouble. We have to hang on. It's 1st and goal. They're short, and they're going with another pass right here, but we just didn't play the ball. Unless Jackson Dart and Trey Harris are about to pull off a miracle, my plan is literally just to throw it straight up to him. We're about to lose to Arkansas, and he is going to catch the football. Hang on. Keep on going. Timeout, timeout, timeout. How do you call a timeout on Xbox? I'm just 2 games into using Ole Miss, and this might be one of the luckiest things I have ever seen. That is exactly what we needed in that situation. We can send this one to overtime. Everything's shaking quite a bit. If I shank this, I'm going to be so upset. But I didn't, and starting out on defense, it is 3rd and 5. We could very well hold them right here, but they're gonna scramble in. We literally cannot lose this game after that super lucky catch, though they're sending a blitz. And I can already tell the type of defense that they're about to run on us. Good thing we have a ton of good receivers. I didn't expect this match to be close either, of course, but we seem to be coming up clutch. And the real question's gonna be, should we go for the 2-point conversion? Since we're the better team on paper, we probably shouldn't. But we have to pick up this first down first. It is 4th and inches and we get in. After kicking the extra point as well, it is overtime number 2 versus Arkansas. And all I can say is we better not get held to a field goal. I'm running the speed option. We pitch it over to Bentley the 4th and he takes it to the 10. I thought this game was going to be like 10 seconds of footage. Instead, it has been super entertaining. And we just have to close it out. We're going for the 2-point conversion, of course, because we have no choice. But Arkansas scored on their first play a double OT, so now we have to stop them on the 2-point conversion. And I just got messed up on who I was clicked onto. From here on out, we're trading 2-point conversion attempts back and forth. This is going to be so stressful. And they said he got the ball across there, which means we now need to pick this up. And what just happened? What was Jackson Dart thinking? How did that ball just fall flat to the ground? I can't believe it. We're going to lose to the Razorbacks. I'm so confused. Normally this RPO is super slick, but our running back bumped the ball. That is the worst way that game could have ended. We're now sitting at 6-3. And unless we somehow upset Georgia here, we have zero chance at making the playoffs. It's going to be very difficult to get over a loss like we just had, but we have to look forward. And defensively, we really haven't played that bad. It's just been our offense that has struggled to get things going. With 4 minutes left in this game, we're down by 11. I'm going to try and take the seam right here. But even with that great throw, we're still going to have to get the ball back against the Bulldogs. And that has not been coming very easily. We've gotten in that hole though, and we're just going to have to wrap up right here. 3rd and 5. I'm going to assume that they're going to throw the ball. We are prepared for it though. Our coverage is locking up. And this is it right here. We have our chance in this game, even if we're getting the ball on the 2. Our playoff hopes could very much still be alive. I think we have a touchdown right here. We were able to outrun number 5. But then they somehow just miraculously got back to play that ball. And how? Jackson Dart being off target is driving me insane. I think we're going to have to go for that. And that was 4th down right there. We're going to lose. Not only would Georgia just take us down, but they'd also take this 4-star prospect from us. This 5-star chose Oregon, but we did sign some 4-stars ourselves. You never know with Jeff Combs' 92 speed if he'll make a difference, or Nathan Stack's 93 at running back. But just looking at some of the other wide receivers we've signed, I think it's more likely these are the guys that make a difference. I mean, Danny Bale has 97 speed with takeoff as a true freshman. I'm excited to see what overall all those players are at, but we have to finish the season first. And to be honest, at 6-4, we really have nothing else to play for. We've already secured a bowl game, but for Ole Miss to get 6 wins, that is terrible. This game's not going very well though, as you can tell. We have struggled against the Gators. And this is just an unbelievable collapse to the season. We're about to lose 3 straight games. I don't even know what I'm doing at this point. If this onside kick doesn't go in our direction, which it doesn't, it's just over. And we have a long way to go with the Rebels. Due to our lack of success as well, more and more players are threatening to transfer out. And it is so crucial that we do not lose the Egg Bowl to Mississippi State. This is just one of those rivalry games that we cannot lose under any circumstances. We have to play well. And winning 38-10 in the rain is the exact type of bounce back result we needed. At least we're going to end the regular season on a positive note. And thank goodness for that, because besides our recruiting class, everything's gone wrong. We're about to lose Jackson Dart and a lot of our other really good players. So it's a good thing that we're still bringing in some 4-star commits. I still can't believe we finished 13th in our conference, but everybody in the SEC beat up on each other. And Jackson Dart's season stats were not too bad at all. Only 4 interceptions. On the ground, he had 4 rushing touchdowns as well, while Bentley the 4th had over 1,000 yards. But he's a senior. Wide receiver Trey Harris is a senior, and Jordan Watkins is too. With what just happened this year, I think it's only right that we clear house, we get rid of some of these coordinators. And I can't believe what I'm seeing. Cam Rising was able to stay healthy for an entire season. I'm salty right now though. Virgin chose another school. He went to Georgia, and then Kentucky was able to flip Nathan Stack. He was committed to us at one point, but because some of our school grades have dropped, he decided on my favorite school instead. And joke's on him. At the moment, we have the #1 class in the country, so he's missing out. For the players that have stayed with us, we get to look at their dev traits. Already seeing an elite is a very good sign. I wanted to see it on Dante as well. He's going to be our QB. And I'd assume as we continue to scroll through these, we're going to see a lot of stars and elites. That is all that I wanted out of some of these players. This is going to be a super solid class. Of these 17 players that were either 4 or 5 stars, I was able to count 6 elite devs. And it just hit me. We never got an invite to play in a bowl game. How is that even possible? At 7-5, we have missed a bowl invite as an SEC school. That was something that happened on NCAA Football 14. I didn't think it would happen on this one, but clearly that's still a broken thing, and we're just going to end the season 7-5. The type of coordinators we're able to get in from here on out have got to be good, and I think we want some motivators for player development. So thankfully, I think I've been able to find exactly what I was looking for. If we're going to win a championship like Ohio State, though, we probably have a long way to go. And I can't believe how disliked these new coordinators are. 15 players have a chance at transferring out now. Of that group, there's actually quite a few that are trying to enter the transfer portal. We have 6 persuasions, though. And with one of Lane Kiffin's coach abilities, every time we have a successful attempt, it's refunded. I'm not sure what UConn's logo's doing there, though. But we went 5 for 6. The best middle linebacker did leave us, and I'm going to try on Walter Nolan as well, though I think he's gone to the draft. Just taking a look at all of these departures, though, we've pretty much lost almost every single starter. And this is the ability Lane Kiffin has. It is called Full Refund. It's tier 3. It's in the Program Builder tab, and he just starts off with it. With all of these departures, though, we're ready to continue this rebuild. Next season might not be any better than 7-5 either. And that just makes this transfer portal period so crucial, where the #1 transfer, Deontay Lawson, is putting us at #2 on his interest. I fired our recruiting coordinator, so with only 50 hours to put on each of these positions, we're probably not going to pick them up. But it's at least worth a shot. We just picked up a 4-star gym tight end from the regular season, while this bust 4-star linebacker went to Washington. I only wanted quality in this class, even though our team need says that we have 30 of them to fill. And at the moment, unless I can somehow guess this hard sell correctly, it's looking like Vanderbilt's about to beat us out. I'll at least put him on a visit. His deal breaker is playing style, so we know that this is going to be one of his 3 interests. But this next week, we're going to have to guess. It's between these 2 hard sells, and I'm going to go with playing time being his 3rd motivation because he's also interested in Vanderbilt. That logic was correct, but our school grade for it somehow dropped to a D-, so he chose the Commodores. Let's just say we could have closed out recruiting better. We still got Caleb Ransall and also this free safety, which will leave us with the #1 class in the country. I just know it could have been even better than this. Look at our roster going into position changes as well. We literally have 5 players over 80 overall. I can't believe this is how this rebuild's going. Dante Priestley, though, he is the elite dev quarterback that's an 82 overall running back. It's gonna hurt me to put him here as a 76. I can't really tell if training results went that well for us either. I did see Austin Simmons has jumped up to an 84, but we're a very fake 87 overall team. This non-conference schedule actually looks terrible, and it's not going to get any better as we get in SEC play. Due to Austin's development, it's also kind of hard to justify starting the freshman quarterback, but just looking at his player card, looking at the skill caps I've already seen, they are incredible. He can go up to like a 99. We're just going to have a down season while I try to fill in more of these team needs. I'm hoping we can get some big transfers in the transfer portal. And when it comes to recruiting, there are still some 5-stars that are very interested in coming to our program. Going into season #2, these are the 16 players that I've decided to go after. There are 6 5-stars on here. I'm not sure if we're going to get them, but Chester Ellington's very interesting. He might give us another option at quarterback. He's a 5-star gym, but I feel like we've already found our answer, and we're about to see how he does in his first start. On the road at USC, there is no time for him to get a better feel for this offense. But here's the thing, if I thought Jackson Dart was fast, with his 93 speed, he should be even better. Our main issue, though, right now is our offensive line. On this 3rd down, we have our lefty going for the end zone, and I can't stand using left-handed quarterbacks, but I'm going to have to get used to it. Now, here on the road, it has certainly been a tough game for us, but we have a chance to tie it up right here. Irwin got free, and just seeing the look they were giving us, I knew we'd beat the press. The Trojans have responded back with a touchdown, though, and they keep blowing up the run. So now I feel like we should probably go for it on 4th and 5, and we're going to be able to take it up. There was no quarterback spy. Dante Priestley has a chance to come up clutch for us, but once again, our offensive line has let us down. Here on 4th and 14, we couldn't get a good throw, and that was about what I expected. We just have had a bad offensive line. We can still run commit and send everybody to get the ball back, though, which makes this a very interesting 3rd and 9. They've handed it off again, and Caleb Ransall was on it. We are giving our freshman quarterback a chance here on the road. A punt return would also be super nice right here, but he's gotten absolutely nowhere, so we're about to need a huge drive down the field, and we're going for the tight window throws. Dante Priestley just put that ball exactly where it needs to be. Sometimes it is hard to believe this kid is just a freshman quarterback from what I've seen, and the fact that we couldn't do this all game is super frustrating, but we are able to get out of bounds. All Priestley needs is some time from our offensive line, and right here, I think stepping up might be our best decision. The ref got in the way. We weren't able to slide, but we have picked it up. We're in hurry up mode. We're also in a little bit of panic mode. I don't want to make any mistakes right here. Using the playmaker, that could be the pick that does it. I don't know why I didn't just scramble out of bounds or something. They're going to get the win. And they're also returning this for a touchdown just to rub it in. There's no way that we're able to catch them. I tried to do way too much with Dante Priestley right there, and it means we're losing to the Trojans. Our defense did a solid job on Miller Moss, though. So my hope is, as we get farther into the season, that trend can continue. It is just so unfortunate that to start this year, we have 2 tough games. And even worse, they're on the road, but I am trying my best to take down Florida State here. They're just scrambling in. Offensively, we have certainly looked a lot better. What I didn't want out of our defense, though, was to struggle, and I have enjoyed running the ball. We're able to take off in a lot of situations. We'll see if our fade route is able to get open to Bale right here, and their safety is trying to get back to play it. But we put that one in the right spot. They're sending a blitz, and they get us. I just want to tie this game up at 38, though I don't think that's happening. And this has just been a terrible collapse. I thought they were about to run man-to-man coverage right there. I'm going to try to use a playmaker right here. Click on, make the catch. So here we go. This 4th and 9 is very manageable. Our tight end is open, and he catches it. No, he dropped it. We're about to lose another game, I think. We have to stop this run against the Seminoles. And I can stack the box all I want, but I have to be able to make those tackles. This is not a good start to the season. We are now 0-2. And it's like every single time we're picking up these losses, just one tiny thing goes wrong. Just looking at our first 5 opponents' records too, none of them have lost a game yet. And I know it's very early in the season, but I'm already starting to think that we're not even going to make a bowl game. Every single one of these finishes has been tight so far. Right now, we're just relying on our defense. And after that missed throw, it is 4th and 2. We could get Wake Forest off of the field, but I got stuck on their receiver, and they fumbled. Apparently, the refs are reviewing it, even though they picked it up. So whether or not that was really a fumble doesn't really matter. We were so close to being able to seal this one, though. And now it just feels like a matter of time before they break our hearts. They always have someone open. I mean, we could hold them to a field goal, but we know how an overtime game would go. And I don't have it in me to lose another tight battle like that. It's gonna be 3rd down. No, it's a 1st down. Luckily, they are gonna spike the ball after that. We just can't seem to do anything right. And here we go, 3rd and 5. I need them to make a bad read or something. Instead, they're gonna route us up. And why would I click on trying to make a tackle there? This is such a terrible way to lose again. And I can't do this today. I was so excited to play college football 25. It has been like 4 or 5 days since I have. But it's not worth it sitting in this uncomfortable chair all day if this is how we're gonna perform. I'm just gonna send up a prayer and hope for the best right here. Wait, did we just make that throw on the run? No, it's dropped. Like, I feel like the pieces are actually there for this team for us to be super good in the future because we can literally just heave it. But somehow everything still goes wrong for us. Wake Forest gets the win. And somehow I have only made Ole Miss worse. I have seen enough for this season. I don't even care what happens versus Tulane. We're not an 87 overall team. This roster is terrible. And surely we can close at least this game out. With about 2 minutes left, we have the ball in a tie situation. But we are near field goal range, and that is all we're going to need to get this win, though we do have a freshman kicker. In some of the polls, Tulane's a top 25 team, so this would actually be a good win. But I'm not sure if we're close enough for field goal range even at the moment. With them taking timeouts, we really need to pick up one more 1st down. The blocks are looking really good right there. And I think we have done it. We have been able to run down the clock to like no time left. So all we have to do is not choke this kick, and we are getting our first win. It took us a little bit, but that does feel pretty good, especially since we're probably going to lose at Georgia against number 16 Oklahoma versus LSU and some of these other top 25 opponents as well. Now, somehow, off of every single hard sell I've guessed on all 16 of these prospects, we have been able to get every single one correct. So it's nice that recruiting seems to be going our way so far, but unfortunately, we're also losing some battles, like this one to Auburn for the 4-star gym. We're going on the road to number 2 Georgia as well. I cannot imagine this goes our way. And I was correct about that. We've only been able to score 7 points in this game. I'm sending up one final prayer, but it wasn't answered, and we've picked up our 4th loss of the year. By now, we have no hope of making the playoffs. I'm surprised this 5-star even wants to come to Ole Miss. And also quite a few 4-stars, but I think the trend of the other 5-stars is going to start picking up as we get through the rest of this season. Each week, we're either losing 3 or 4 battles, or we're getting stuff like deal breakers locking us out going after some of these guys. And I'm only going after 4- and 5-star recruits, so we're limited to these 17 prospects for the rest of the season. The way I see it right now, it doesn't even matter if we sign 5-stars like this, though, because with how bad we're performing, there's a risk that like 30 players on this roster transfer out. We have to somehow finish the season strong to prevent that, but we have such a tough schedule. And let's just go ahead and get another game that's going to be a tough loss for us over with. With 2 minutes left, we're down by 10. As you can tell, there's like no hope left. And I guess we could still pull off the comeback. We'll see what I can cook up as we try to finish this. But they're guarding us so well, we have to drill this field goal, and it's in. All right, we know that the run should be coming, so we can just run commit and stack the box against them. But even then, with our current defensive line, that might not be enough against the Sooners. Here we go. It is now 3rd and 5, but they've cut it up the middle, and that's game. They spread us out right there. They penetrated the hole. That was a great play call. But now we're 1 and 5. 1 and 5. And look at this. Like, I don't know what to do. Everybody everybody is going to leave this team. I really don't know what to do. Even with these perfect school grades and pitches, we can't come back on a 4-star free safety. And as a last-ditch effort to save this season, I'm switching us from a spread offense to an air raid. Will that make a difference against 89 overall LSU? Probably not. But I was desperate to try something new where we literally just got blown out by 28 points at home. It couldn't get any worse than this. The experiment with our freshman quarterback's not going well, but I also don't want to pull him because I feel like his development's important, but by now I think we just have to give a shot to Austin Simmons. As we continue to go through the year, we're still losing out on prospects even when we do sign one. And in other seasons, South Carolina would probably be an easier win, but at the moment they're 5-2. All it takes is one more loss and we're not bowl eligible. We're almost at the bottom of the SEC. And Austin Simmons better fix this team. Let's just say it hasn't been great for us offensively, but our defense has definitely played better and we drop it. He is also a left-handed quarterback, so I literally cannot escape them, and I just wish it was easier for us to score. I mean, just trying to close out this game has been incredibly difficult, though they throw it straight to us, and that means we're gonna get our second win of the season. I can't believe it took us this long to do that, but maybe our switch at quarterback makes other players perform better. To be eligible to make a bowl, we have to win these last 4 matchups, though being over 500 didn't seem to help us last year, and it's probably not good for me to have hope right now, but I just want us to turn things around. Well, with about a minute left, we're relying on our defense to hold on versus the Wildcats, and this is a tough situation to be in. We really need to force an interception or something. They have so much time still left. Barry and Brown gets them inside the 10, and I feel like the writing's probably already on the wall. They're going to be able to get into the end zone, but we need to make sure we take timeouts if they don't. That'll at least give us a chance to respond back. We should have a pick there, and it is on Simmons to lead us down the field. I want to try and test out that corner over on the right side because we had Irwin, and that is exactly what I wanted to see out of the freshman receiver. Now using play action, I'm going to roll out, throw the corner out, but I hit the wrong button. I hit X, but that was the wrong X. I guess that was the PlayStation X. We literally had our tight end getting open there too. He would have found that corner, the end zone, but I'm confused with the buttons. That's what I get for playing on Xbox. And that is a heartbreaking way to find out that we're not going to be bowl eligible. Our offense has only gotten worse since making the quarterback switch as well, so we're going back to starting true freshman Dante Priestley. What happens the rest of this year really doesn't matter now, though it would be cool to upset number 8 Florida. And that might actually happen. With a couple minutes left, we're down by 2. We are getting inside the 30, inside the 25. And all we have to do is settle for a field goal from here. We have performed well in this matchup. It's a shame we couldn't have done stuff like this the rest of the year, but we're going to get in. And that would seal our win. The Gators weren't going to be able to score in like 10 seconds. Plus, with that performance, I think Dante Priestley has secured his spot at QB. To end the year, we get to face off against Arkansas and Mississippi State. So the expectations are that we're going to be able to finish 5-7. If we can just complete this pass, that would definitely seal it. And thankfully, Ole Miss is starting to play a little bit better. Antoine Wells Jr. is going to be gone to the draft after this season, though. So our wide receiver core will basically consist of the guys we've brought in, and let's finish this year strong. That's what I'd like to think we were going to do, but Mississippi State has a chance with not much time left. We've already missed 2 tackles on this player. You've got to be kidding. That is just an embarrassing showing from our D. We can't have that. And here on 2nd and 10, they're just getting it out almost immediately. I think I have to send a blitz. I don't want them to be in field goal range, but instead they're going to get a touchdown out of this. What was I thinking? Now we have 31 seconds to score. They are pressing our best receiver, but I feel like they're going to be able to get over to that ball. Yeah, this is just a great showing to end the year. I don't want to talk about it. We're just going to get into season number 3. And I've decided these coordinators aren't it. I am going to fire them again. Just looking at the SEC standings, we finished almost near the bottom. Only 3 teams beneath us. Texas was 4-8. And this recruiting class was much worse. We lost a couple other prospects to end the year. Now we can check dev traits though, and I want to see elites like on that right guard. We're going to need a ton of those, but there's only 2 in this class. The future's not looking good with how unstable our coach grades are about to be, but I think we have found some good answers, especially on the offensive side of the ball. We have a tactician that is going to boost our team overall up quite a bit. Their schemes are also going to match the offense and defense that we run, and I hope that helps because season stat-wise, this is not good numbers from Dante Priestley. CJ Ellsworth ran the ball pretty well though. He just didn't have many rushing touchdowns. And from a receiving perspective, Antoine Wells Jr. was our 3rd receiver with 2 true freshmen leading the way. I'm not sure what to think of that, but adding these numbers all up, we are going to have 25 players at risk of transferring. So I'm terrified for the players leaving tab, and Kansas State won the championship. This cannot possibly end well for us. Let's see how many players want to get out of here. Oh my gosh, we have to convince all of them to come back. Earl Johansson's one of the receivers that we recruited last year as a 5-star. He has decided to stay. And actually, only 4 players that entered the transfer portal would end up leaving us, but they would have made a difference on this roster. As for the guys that graduated, we know that we're not losing that much talent just based off of the team team that we had. But seeing the direction this program's going in, this could have probably been a 5-year rebuild. I could have had challenges and everything. There are only 4 transfers that are even interested in coming to Ole Miss. And I really hope I'm able to bring some of these guys in. Wide receiver Marquez Dortch has 96 speed and shifty. I think we're going to be able to bring all of them in. And we did, but I will say running back Braylon McReynolds was a close call. He might just be our starter though. As you can see, we finished with the 13th best class. And that's certainly a downgrade for a roster that already wasn't that great, but we'll see how training results go. Because I don't want to start Austin Simmons, I'm actually kind of curious what would happen if we put him at something like linebacker. And we know that Chester Ellington's a 5-star with elite dev, but instead of putting him at quarterback, we're going to put him at running back because he's an 83. We also have 30 coach points to spend, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to max out the tactician tree for all of these offensive positions, just making every single one of these players a little bit better statistically. And now it is time for the moment of truth. Training results are going to get this roster up to a 90 overall, though that is very fraudulent. We only have a couple players above an 87. This team definitely needs at least another season of development, though I do like to see Dante Priestley already jumping up this much. His accuracies just have to get better. And at the running back position, transfer Braylon McReynolds is pretty much useless to us, especially with CJ jumping up to an 88. I really like some of the stuff I'm seeing though. Austin Simmons is our lowest overall player as a 67 overall linebacker. And I'm really hopeful that this season we can at least contend for a playoff spot, though we do have some top 10 teams on here, 4 of them to be exact. There's definitely still some improvements that need to be made, and with 22 team needs, especially at linebacker and corner, we have some gaps to fill. But I think we're at least moving in the right direction, rebuilding that foundation, and there's still some 5-stars that are interested. We'll only be going after 2 of them in this class though. For the rest of the players I'm targeting, they are 4-star gyms, and there are a load of them. I really hope we're able to land them. But either way, they're just pieces that would help out our depth as we continue to build a championship roster. Now to start the season, we're playing against Vanderbilt. There is no way we should lose to them. But I thought the same about my Kentucky Wildcats in real life, and look at what happened this past weekend. Thankfully, we seem to be handling this season opener pretty well. We're already up 20-0. We're going to hit the former 5-star for another touchdown. And I think we're going to have to convince him to not transfer every season. At the end of the day though, we should hold on. All we have to do is pick up one more first down here. And there we go. The Rebels are starting the season 1-0. Dante Priestley could have thrown for more yards than this though. And I'll only be concerned if he's also not able to do it versus Charlotte. We might be playing on the road, but it's against the 49ers. We should have no issues. And it is disgusting that with less than a minute left, this is a 7-point game, plus they have a chance to tie it up. I don't know how they've been able to keep it this close for this long, but it's not a good sign for the rest of the year. And their quarterback keeps on getting rid of the football right when he has a guy coming in his face, but we're gonna get the interception. He is not able to thread the needle that time around, and we might even get the pick 6 out of it. Walker with an amazing play right here. What on earth? 69-yard pick 6. That is exactly the number that you want. And our D is very good at closing right there. We win by 14. It can finish the job, and that's all that matters, even though our offense was a little bit underwhelming. And we have a chance to start 3-0, which is all that I was hoping for out of this season. We have not secured anything against Duke, though, especially after that touchdown pass. We're only up by 2. I mean, they gave it to us deep instead of going for the onside kick, but we still have to pick up a first. And my vision has been absolutely atrocious. There's nowhere to go. We just got stuck there, making it a 3rd and 13, game on the line right here. And here is the choke. It always has to happen in these games. We can't just have something nice. That punt is going to take a great bounce, though. They overestimated where it was going, and we're delivering the hammer. Here we go, relying on our defense once again. I would love to get a big interception against them. And we can always start faking some injuries if they start moving the ball a little bit too quickly, and we need to get a quick timeout without burning one. How is he still up? I guess he really didn't go anywhere. 3rd and 6. Walker could get another huge interception for us. I'm coming to that football. Give me that. It's like he's just got a knack for sucking those balls in, making sure no one else on the field gets to them. And I got to end this generational run. It has been 2 minutes of some of the wildest things I think I've ever said. I already know some of the timestamps in the comments aren't going to make me look great to sponsors, but Prize Picks shouldn't mind. I have a long deal with them, and take a look at some of these battles. They're pretty close. I've had no choice but to guess on a lot of these players' hard sells, and I must have missed on this cornerback because he chose Georgia. We're still trying to build up our reputation though as a good football program. Again, we're playing against USC, and a win here +1 at Texas would do wonders. I'm not sure if we can win at number 5 Tennessee, or against number 1 Texas A&M, or against number 15 Alabama, but if we can start the year 5-0, we might just find ourselves in that top 25. I'm still upset about this commitment, mainly because this player had 99 speed, and now I have to check whether or not I missed on the hard sell guesses or I got them right. With the amount of misses that I had though, it is very crucial that we start 4-0. And even if we do have a lead to defend, it is never a comfortable one. We're ending this game having to get a stop. Can someone bring him down? Aiden Chili's is the Trojans quarterback. He must have transferred transferred there from Michigan State. I think he started his career as a Beaver at Oregon State. And he's about as loyal to his school as my ex was. I'm in a bad position for this user, but we get the sack. And they're going to have to spike the ball, making it 3rd and 19. Here we go. All we have to do is not give up some huge play. I see the check down is open. I couldn't get over to it in time, but we should be fine. This is my favorite defense to run out there. A little bit of a cover 4 quarters with a vertical hook. And what are we doing defensively? With one guy in your area, you just chose to not defend him. I don't appreciate that at all. This time though, make up for the play, Banks. I absolutely love it when a player is able to make up for something they did in the past. And once again, offense not doing the best, which has become a very consistent theme. No passing touchdowns from Dante Priestley, but at least we won. If we're going to have a really good season though, at some point he has to step up. And if it wasn't last week, maybe it'll be on the road this week at Texas. Never mind, it's actually been the complete opposite. Here in the 3rd quarter, we haven't scored a single point and we've got to catch that ball. Our defense has held the Longhorns to just 12 points, but we're not putting up any. And I think it's just because of using a left-handed quarterback. I'm not that good with them. I have a plan for this play right here though. We're going to roll out with our lefty and go nowhere. This is actually a disaster right here. We've got to get a touchdown. And the longer this game goes on for, the longer I think we're actually going to be held scoreless. With 20 seconds left, we would finally reach the end zone, but that's not enough. Of course, we're going to lose by a good bit. So out of pure panic, our playbook is getting swapped around again. That's what affects how we perform. And even if it looks like we're getting some signings, we're not doing that well. In 1 week, we might have picked up 2 4-stars, but at the same time, we lost out on 5 of them. And if I was to just scroll through our recruiting board for a minute, you'll see that there's more players committed to other schools than there are committed to Ole Miss. At this point, I better place all my hope in the fact that our current roster is able to develop a lot better. And if we could go on the road and upset Tennessee, that would be the greatest thing that could happen this season. Spoiler alert though, it's probably not happening because our offense is just broken. And on 3rd and 13, the Volunteers are going to hand the ball off instead of passing it. I wasn't expecting that. They might have just done enough to get themselves in field goal range. That would ice it, but they've shanked it. And here we go. I really want to make a quarterback switch next week, but if we somehow pull this off, I can. Not a good start right there though. Our guys are just not putting things together right. And here we go. It is now 3rd and 12. I am going to step up, but with nowhere to go, this game is basically all over. It's going to come down to this. Aiden Williams kind of got open, but it's just another example of us not finishing strongly. I have seen enough out of Dante Priestley. It is time to give AJ Maddox a shot, even though he is a deal breaker with coach prestige. And he might just leave this team by the end of the year, but he doesn't have that many skill caps either, and his accuracies actually look a little bit better. He's from Mississippi. He probably grew up an Ole Miss fan. This has to mean something to him. And I need a spark of any type. We just lost 3 more battles to other SEC schools. Right now, we're on the path of keeping Ole Miss exactly where they've been the last 5 seasons. But our quarterback switch has sparked a little bit of life into this offense that we've not seen in a while, and we're going for deep passes like that. I'm really just sending it up. I've lost any desire to try and work it down the field slowly. But we can also do things that way. AJ could be our answer, and as I'm saying that, we fumble. It's not going to make a difference. Our defense simply played too well, but you can just tell we have so many unlucky things going in our direction. So for us to go out and drop 38 points is huge, especially with our sophomore receiver having this many yards. I'm pretty sure he led the team in them last year as well, but he's going to have a huge game against Texas A&M because that's the only way we even stay in the hunt for a chance at the SEC Conference Championship. But before we finish the rest of this Ole Miss rebuild, a word from Prize Picks, today's video sponsor. If you think you're good at guessing how players will perform, then you might like Prize Picks, where on there you choose between 2 to 6 players and then go higher or lower on their projections. Some of the picks, like the Goblin ones, are more likely to happen, while the Demon ones you have to be much more confident. And I'm coming off this win, so I'll definitely be looking to do that again. You can play in over 30 states, so there's a good chance yours is eligible. And I can also get you some cash to start out with on Prize Picks, as Code Board will get you $50 instantly whenever you play with your first $5 plus lineup. But now it's time to resume the rest of the Ole Miss rebuild. That doesn't feel very attainable, but I guess you never know what could happen. And let's just say that our offense seems to be back to normal this week against the Aggies. We've already scored 15 points in the 4th quarter though. We're trying. And we have used some injury timeouts to our advantage. Now we have a touchdown right here. But AJ saw it a second too late. Now it is 3rd and 21 and there's nowhere to go. It's going to be almost impossible to come back in this one, but a pick would help. And that clearly didn't happen right there. So now we're trying to end the game with some extra points. This is so sad. All I want to do is make sure they don't more than double our score and we break the tackle. But we can't even be celebrating right now. We just lost by 3 possessions in front of our home fans. And I can't even blame all these players for threatening to transfer out on us. We have to end this season strong, but we have schools like number 3 Alabama on the schedule. And it's pretty much already a guarantee we're not making the conference championship and we're not making the playoffs. To make things even worse, at the moment we only have 4 total total commits, this 5-star is probably going to flip to LSU at the last second, and looking at some of these other battles, there's no guarantees we win them either. I really don't see Ole Miss going in a good direction right now. But you know what? Against some of these weaker SEC schools, we're actually performing pretty well. We have a chance to go up 31-3, and I still think that I'm just going to stick with AJ for the rest of this rebuild, though we have to fight our way in. By 3rd and goal, we still haven't gotten the touchdown, but there it is. And of course, from that point, we weren't going to blow our lead. It's actually refreshing to see our quarterback throw for a lot of passing yards. And I really don't understand what happened during the offseason that made Dante Priestley regress the way that he did, but maybe it was just his bad accuracies kicking in. I mean, last season, he had a better passer rating, and he was also throwing for almost 60 more yards per game. But it is what it is. We have a new answer at quarterback now, and we've snuck our way inside the top 25. If we can beat Alabama at home, a playoff push could still be on the table. And this one's still within our reach, as in the 3rd quarter, we're only down by 4. We could even take a lead if we just finish this drive off strongly. But my fear of throwing interceptions continues to kick in, and waiting that long to hit a drag does nothing. It's now 3rd and goal. It's looking like we're going to be settling for a field goal. But that's all they'd get on their next drive too. I just want some tackles that can block, and we've gotten this one out in time to drop it. I really have had enough of this offense. It is making me go insane at this point. And as Alabama continues to score, if they get a 4th down stop, we're in a lot of trouble. That's what they just did though. We were in this game and we've completely collapsed. On 3rd and 10, they throw it away. And there's still a chance for a miracle, but it is so slim. Somehow we have fumbled the football. We're picking it up with our lineman, and he can't gas those players. It would be a little bit delusional though to think that he was going to be able to outrun them. I can't even throw it up. And sometimes on this game, you get super clean pockets, while other times you have literally zero time back there no matter what you do. Right now, it seems like EA is telling us they don't think we're good enough to win a championship. And no, getting a big win over Georgia State's not going to make me feel any better. This isn't impressive. We only seem to perform exceptionally whenever we're facing some super weak teams. And I really hope AJ takes a bigger step forward as a junior. I'm still doing a bad job at building a roster around him though. We lost the 5-star linebacker to LSU. We only have 5 commits, and we probably will get like 5 or 6 more of these guys. That's only going to fill half of our team needs. The transfer portal period's going to have to go much better so we can fill out the rest of them. And I'm not even excited about any of the current prospects we've signed. That's why I've barely talked about them, but we have to get our revenge in the Egg Bowl. I'm pretty sure we lost last season. And like expected, because we're playing against a team that's not that good, we've held them to like no points. We could get an interception right here, which we do. So once again, we're proving we can handle these weaker opponents, but how are we going to do against the better ones? That's really what's going to matter in these coming seasons, if we're able to get a championship or not, because clearly stuff like this is fine. And I'm just hoping that we can keep around most of our defense. They had back-to-back shutouts to end this season, and we've given up the 4th least amount of points in college football. So that says a lot about them, but when you look at our offense, it was pretty much middle of the pack in the SEC. It has to be better next season. I'm hoping AJ Maddox, if he doesn't transfer, can deliver that. And all of our running backs had so many issues staying healthy that 4 of them were able to get a good amount of touches. As for our best receivers, once again, Raymond Irwin is up here at the top. And the SEC continues to be the conference where all of these amazing programs keep beating up on each other. It's kind of holding us back though. It's also frustrating when all those teams steal prospects from us, so I'm happy to see that we just got 2 more 4-stars. And as we get closer and closer to early national signing day, we've made 10 signings and we could still have a couple more coming. It took us a while, but they're starting to add up. I also like keeping around our offensive coordinator, but our defensive one is only a motivator. So it's hard for me to not fire him right now, but we have to keep our coach prestige up. I can't have all these players transferring out. It looks like they might do it anyway. So I'm really hoping us having the best defensive player in the country can give our coaches a boost. But we also have to make sure that we're able to win the Music City Bowl. I guess it shouldn't be a shock. These 2 players both chose other schools. We have 10 dev traits to look through though. I don't like normals. I want elites. I want stars, and this is not great. Of course, 97 speed on a 6'5 receiver would have been great in season 1. Alex Hawkins needs to develop though. I also like to see it on a linebacker. But again, this is nothing. During our first season, we literally signed the number 1 class. Now we're losing player after player. AJ chose Tennessee. And I think over half of our original board was stolen from other SEC schools that are better. So now we just gotta take that frustration out on Northwestern. As a 79 overall team, we've basically just been gifted a free bowl win. But that would have been too easy for us. No, we had to go and make things complicated. I am just sending it deep. I'm not even gonna try to get into field goal range. 23 can't stick with Bale. He's simply too quick. And I have finished so many games on defense. This is nothing new to me at all. It's gonna be 4th down. So let's just go ahead, see if we're able to get them off the field, and I was right there. Thankfully, he wouldn't catch it anyway. We're gonna win the Music City Bowl, and that means we're finishing this season at 9-4. We might not have made the playoffs, having a chance at winning a championship, but what we did do was finish inside the top 25, and this is some progress moving forward. Instead of players wanting the league leave because of coach prestige, though. Now it's pro potential. We didn't put enough players onto the NFL, so we have to try and convince every single one of them to come back. I've seen enough of it at this point. Pretty much everybody decided they wanted to stay besides our best linebacker and this quarterback that would never see the field. That's just frustrating. And from a graduation standpoint, we're losing our best cornerback, one of our better defensive tackles, but not our best one. And the reason for that is I decided to redshirt Tyrone Bullard even though he was a senior because I wanted him next season. We also have 20 coach points to spend, so I can go over to our secondary and make sure that all of our defensive backs are getting a nice little boost that's going to help them out. And I find it crazy, the best team I've had while being at Ole Miss was the only one that had nobody drafted. It's time to see who we can bring in through the transfer portal, though. I'm going to go after all these players just to add on some depth, but we don't necessarily need any of them, and with only being able to put 50 hours on pretty much all these positions, the chances of getting them are pretty slim. Even with the correct guesses on some of these players' hard sells, it's not enough to compete, and I'm just going to have to be happy about some 3-star commits. It's kind of disgusting just looking at our class and seeing how many players we lost throughout the entire season. We didn't even get this 2-star, and I was trying hard, but it doesn't matter. We signed the 30th best class in the country. It's not like our school grades were awful either. We just had to compete with even better schools for some of those prospects. And Alex Hawkins is a pretty cool prospect because at 6'5" with 97 speed, I can make him a pass coverage middle linebacker. I'm in some trouble at the quarterback position though. We only have 2 players over here. I am going to move Dante Priestley over to running back for a split second. And then with that move, him going up to a 97, I think what we have to do is take Chester Ellington and make him go back to quarterback like he was last year. There's also linebacker Austin Simmons I completely forgot about. He can head back to quarterback so we have some more depth. And one thing that's fun about these receivers that probably won't see the field is we can just move them over to running back and see how they develop. With all the changes I made to this roster, I'm actually pretty proud of where it stands going into season number 4. We have a 99 overall. We also have a 92 overall team that might actually be that good. And I think by encouraging a couple guys to transfer, we can get that overall up at least one more. It actually shoot us up to a 94, and we even get to choose between which of these quarterbacks we want to start. I think we have to go with Chester Ellington just because I have not seen this kid play quarterback yet. He was our running back. He's got great running stats. We have 2 wide receivers that have 97 speed. Raymond Irwin's going to be a beast with silver takeoff. So it really isn't a surprise we're projected to be a top 10 team. We might actually make the playoffs for the first time in this rebuild. This is great. Even Dante Priestley, who just moved over to running back, is number 1 in the Heisman projection. And our schedule could be better. It has number 18 Charlotte on it, number 3 Clemson, number 6 Tennessee, number 5 Alabama, Texas A&M. But you know what? We can handle it. If we can't though, and we still don't win a championship, I have to be recruiting in the background. We have 30 team needs. A lot of players will be replaced. And the quality of prospects interested is no longer as good. No 5 stars on here. So what I might have to do is start going after some 3 stars. That won't have to happen until later in the season though. At least for now, what we're doing is just going after 4 stars. No 5 stars are on the board. And to open up this season, we're hosting Charlotte, where once again, we have to roll with a new quarterback. I have to say, it's probably one of the dumber moves I've made to swap our starting quarterback and running backs positions. But at the moment, we have a number 28 at QB that can throw the ball. He can also run it, and he's going to cut up to take it to the 1. This looks so dumb. We also have a wide receiver at running back at 81. So numbers-wise, no matter who we're using this season, it is going to look weird, but we've had success in this quarter. And also in this first half, we have a chance to go up 31-0, but we had a holding call. So that's not looking very likely, but I'm going to try to thread the needle anyway, and it's off target. Chester Ellington might not perform as well versus better teams as we get farther into the season, but at least right now we're starting with a win. And I still can't believe all the switches that we've made. I really think it's going to be what takes this team to the next level though. We should never lose to Connecticut in football. And of course that was not going to happen. We're about to go up 38-7, but we didn't get in, making it 4th and goal, and Priestley is going to power his way through. That is a former quarterback showing that he can also just run through some dudes. And it is so refreshing to be having comfortable wins like this. Like I said, I think we moved around players to their best positions. But until we end up playing Clemson, Tennessee, and Alabama, we can't really test that theory. Oregon State's our last little warm-up game before things start to get serious. And here in the 3rd quarter, it should be no surprise how much we've just dominated this game. Like, we're in such a good position, I don't see how we'd blow it. And I don't mind going for it on 4th and goal, which is going to result in a touchdown. In every single one of these games, though, our defense has ended up giving up a couple touchdowns. And I feel like we could finish the season with the best defense in the country, so I want to change that. Whatever we do here, we cannot let them get into the end zone. They have nowhere to go, though. We got to get some pressure. And this is the most ridiculous thing I have ever seen. Losing so badly that you just kick a sympathy field goal is embarrassing. And I think they just let somebody that wears number 28 at quarterback dot them up for 6 touchdowns. This is the Ole Miss that we were looking for, and that quarterback from Iowa was never going to stay in his home state. He wanted a real offense, but now we have to prove that against Clemson. Right now, we're currently both top 5 teams. This should be a really good one. And we might not have anybody in the Heisman watch like Clemson, but that could change after this week. If anybody's going to stop their offense, it has got to be our defense. And we've been able to hold them to 27 points, which is pretty average. We got to tie things up right here, though, and we do. This game's going to come down to the final couple minutes, but they have a huge gap to just run the football. And if all they have to do is get into field goal range, there's really not that much that we can do, as they're also breaking that tackle. I don't love that they're in a hurry-up offense. It does not give us very much time to adjust. But all of a sudden, it is 3rd down, and they are going to have plenty of time back there, but we get the sack. This is our chance right here. We are on our own 5-yard line, which isn't great, but we're going to step up with Ellington. We know that he can make guys miss as a former running back, and I love it. I feel pretty comfortable in this position at the moment. Using the RPO, though, we go nowhere. So we're probably going to need a couple big plays through the air, and we were open, but we dropped it. I expect that type of stuff at the beginning of this rebuild, but not right now. We are fitting it into that window. But with that drop, we're going to need a good punt with a good bounce, or else our defense is in a lot of trouble, and that does go a little bit farther than I was hoping. I honestly thought it was going to stop around midfield. This is fine. We just are going to give up a big play. And I am stuck on Walker hyping everybody up when we needed to get in a blitz. Now they're getting a big run, and we almost got to let them just go the distance. I want our chance to respond back, especially if they're going to come out pressing, though this throw needed to be right on the money, and Bale is going to break free here. The question is, do we go for the 2-point conversion after wasting all this time? I think we should. There's a pretty long season ahead of us, and with this handoff, we're in the end zone. All we have to do now is make sure that in these 13 seconds, they don't somehow get into field goal range, though with this run, they could have come close. Because I never know how our defense is going to react to it, so I've protected the sticks this time around. They're going for the deep shot, and we just need to swat this down. But they've called a flag on the play. What else did they want us to do? Fortunately for us, they are about 5 yards away from being in field goal range, so they're just going to have to try and send it up. But they're not going to get the throw off, and we have clutched up at the very end. I still don't get why the computer presses in the situations that they do, and I wanted to go back to that game-winning touchdown again, but there's no replay available for one of the biggest plays in the game. You know what I can watch, though? The kickoff beforehand that I didn't even return. I just let it bounce into the back of the end zone. So I'm hoping EA can just add that to the long list of things that need to be touched up on going into college football 26. It's like the foundation to this game is incredible, but there's still so many little pieces that don't work the way they should. And it's hard to get excited about some of the commits we picked up, because at the same time, we've already lost just as many battles as we've won, and we beat Clemson, but Kemp still chose the Tigers. I've decided recruiting in this part of the US is just not fun. I would not wish it upon my worst enemy. And there's more recruiting battles coming up we're about to lose, but we haven't lost yet on the field. Right now, we're 4-0, but we haven't played a single SEC game. So starting against Tennessee in this night one, we have to prove that we're legit. Beating the #1 team in Clemson was nice, but we have scored very few points in this one. And after failing to pass for it on 3rd down, I'm just going to hand it off on 4th and 3 and see if our running back is able to get it, which he is able to. I think we just have to trust in Dante Priestley. That is what I'm learning the farther we get into the year. And surely he's about to take it in, which he does as he fights his way through. Our defense has also done a great job versus the Volunteers. It's a big 4th and 7 where we could just end this game with a stop. I'm going to go for the pick, though, just for the stats. And we might as well try to return it, too, just to rub it in, but it won't work. Holding the Volunteers to just 13 points is a huge win in my books. And of course, Dante Priestley wins player of the game. I think it's pretty criminal that at the moment, he's not even in the Heisman race, especially since we're the #1 team in the country taking on #2 Alabama. We've already played in multiple game of the weeks, and at the moment, there is only 5 undefeated teams left in the country, unless there's some ones farther down here in the top 25. Okay, Fresno State's there too. But my point is, this is the biggest one so far, and we also have to play it on the road. If we're going to lose a game this season, I would expect it to come right here. And it's been a defensive battle so far. I'm going to pull this one with our quarterback, though, which did not work out for us. Now it is 3rd and goal, stepping back and then running up. We're going to get the touchdown. And ever since that moment, we have just controlled this game. We have a chance to get even more points on this drive right here, though with the playmaker, we're able to clear things out for Irwin. And we'll see if anything gets open using this motion, but no, it was just a free rusher for them. Either way, here in the 4th quarter, we're completely fine. Our defense has played incredibly. And it's blown my mind at how bad Austin Mack has been versus it. I don't even think he's thrown for 100 yards. So if you think I'm worried about a 4th and 11, I can promise you I'm not, and all we have to do is make a tackle in time. It's over. Alabama has been proven a fraudulent team. They are not the #2 in the country. And they better be begging Nick Saban to come back to this program before it goes under. With all this success we're having, I thought it'd be no issue signing more and more 4 stars, but we're still losing battles. So this class isn't huge, but at the moment it looks looks like we're just going to run our way to the championship. At the moment, nobody seems to be able to stop us. We have a long way to go in SEC conference play though. And of the teams that are left on our schedule, I'm most worried about Texas and Texas A&M. We can't necessarily overlook teams like Missouri though. They could prove to be a tough opponent. And what did I say? With a minute left in this one, we are relying on our defense, though we should be able to get the sack. You could just tell that he was not going to escape that pocket and all the pressure they sent. They're going to get like 10 back though. And I've protected the sticks on this 4th and 13 where they literally just threw it straight to us immediately. We'll take the interception though, and Brown might even get a touchdown out of this, which would make this score even better. AJ Brown is once again at Ole Miss. This time he's a corner. And I don't know how I've overlooked an AJ Brown for this entire video, but I did a double take when I saw his name. Anyway, he helped us secure this win over the Tigers, and Chester Ellington was responsible for our other 3 touchdowns. We also have 20 coach points, so I can make our defensive line even better. I think this is going to get us up to like a 95 defense. And even if it doesn't, so what? We're basically starting 90 overalls at every single position. This roster's incredible. The number 2 team in the country is challenging us again though. And I literally think half of our matchups have been game of the weeks. This could be where we pick up our first loss of the season though. It's bound to happen at some point. And the Longhorns have played us very well, though we have our receiver open and there's a touchdown. Right when it looked like they were going to hold us to a field goal, Aiden Williams just got naked. And Chester Ellington's eyes were drawn to him. We're also about to hand it off for another touchdown. But every so often our offensive line doesn't block, so we'll let Dante Priestley take it in here. Whenever things get tight, we've done a fantastic job of just separating ourselves. And I truly believe this has to be our championship year. If it isn't though, I think a lot of this roster returns next season. And it stinks that I can no longer flame Vanderbilt because not only did they upset Alabama, but they also beat my Wildcats. Either way though, we all knew how this game was probably going to go. We have just dominated so far. And there was no shot that they were even going to keep it close. By this point, we've basically secured our spot in the SEC championship. But to my surprise, we still have nobody in the Heisman race. Just knowing how this game works though, I think it'll change if we're able to remain undefeated. And I can't believe what I'm seeing. With 4.5 minutes left, we're losing to the Tigers. They're pressing our best receiver though. And even if we had no time right there, Danny Bale just went up to grab that football. I don't appreciate the tightness though. I wanted to get an easy win. Instead, we're going to have to hope for the best with this pass. And if White is in there at running back, we are dealing with injuries, and that is not good. Our best player is hurt whenever we're getting this close to the playoffs. Dante Priestley has ruptured his disc, whatever that part of the body is, and he is to be decided on his injury length. So we're about to have a plethora of backups getting chances to step up and make plays for us. We have to finish this drive off with a touchdown. I don't think our playoff hopes are going to be ruined even with one loss, but I'd prefer if we just remained undefeated, and we're going to fight our way in. The issue though is Auburn could get a field goal and send this thing to overtime. They've gone with a halfback screen on a 3rd and long that they're going to get. And that was a smart play call right there. I've called a timeout in case they hit it though, so we can respond back, which I really doubt will be too difficult. We could probably even step up and run for a lot, or maybe not though. We all see the defense that they've come out in. We know what I'm going to say, and we had them beat. I shouldn't have been so patient with getting that ball out. It was their fault in the first place. But now we're in some trouble. We have to punt it back to them. They're probably going to be about in field goal range, and we're really relying on our defense to just clutch up for us. We have persevered in similar situations though. We were in one like this against Clemson, and even though they did just get that first down, I'm not too worried. Okay, now I'm worried. They're just trying to run out the clock, and I don't have the timeouts required to stop it. If they hand it off 3 times, we're done. This is terrible. We have lost this game to Auburn. Wait, let them get into the end zone right here. This is how we got a chance against Clemson. It's a very similar situation, about 30 seconds remaining, but so far they have not come out pressing, which is far from ideal in this type of situation. We can't run. I don't know what I was thinking right there. Now it's 3rd and 7. I'm throwing up the slot fade and it's out of bounds. I don't think it really matters what we do right here. I mean, we're about to go down, and that is exactly what I was afraid of happening. You get complacent being the best team, and you're reminded that you can lose on any given Saturday. All of a sudden, if we lose another conference game, we're not a lock for the SEC title, and we're not even a lock for the playoffs. We have fallen all the way down to number 8. I think that's ridiculous considering some of the wins we've gotten this season, but we have to prove ourselves again against Texas A&M. This would be a good road win, and it's just so frustrating that we weren't able to play this well against Auburn last week. The injury did catch us off guard, but we still don't have Dante, and he's going to be out for 4 weeks, so that means he won't return until the playoffs. We have to make it there still, and luckily we were able to hold Texas A&M to no points, which means at this moment we do have the number 2 defense in the country, but it has to show up the rest of this season, and we're about to play the Egg Bowl on the road. Also, just for a little recruiting update, we have signed 11 4-stars, but we're still not getting some of them. And no matter what happens against the Bulldogs, we are locked for the SEC championship. The only thing about playing at their stadium is sometimes the shadows shadows are a bit weird around the end zone. So that's my only concern going into this game, but as you can see, they don't look that bad, and we're gonna dot them up to get inside the 5. Well, close enough. It is a shame that we've not been able to score throughout this entire first quarter, but we should still be fine. We're just gonna be able to punch it in. And like any other week, the longer the game goes on for, the more we're able to run away with it. We're not getting that pick though, and that's crazy. I was literally right there to stop it, though. What is their quarterback doing? Can we please just hold him? Mississippi State is going for the late comeback, but it's not going to happen. We're going to recover the onside kick. I'm going for the return. And we might as well try to pad our stats a little bit. That could never hurt us as we take our check down over to Rhodes. If somebody gets injured here, that's just going to be karma, but we've delivered a dot. And that means we're ending the regular season at 11-1. It is also our 69th Egg Bowl win. And for the SEC championship, we have our rematch against Auburn. They're not catching us off guard this time. I'm not sure how they won the tiebreaker, but I can't believe they got here. And this entire top 25 is pretty weak. There's a lot of 9-3 teams that are inside the top 10. I feel like it's been an odd dynasty file over here on Xbox. We have a 9 overall advantage though. So the second time around playing the Tigers, we better not lose to them. Through the first half though, they've kept it tight. It is 14-all until we take our drag. But keep in mind, we're still missing our 99 overall running back. That'll make our offense even better once we get to the playoffs, though it's our defense I'm worried about. And I've won a championship with Walker White out of the transfer portal before in a rebuild, so I understand how good he is. That's who Auburn has at the helm, but we're hoping to stop them from getting a touchdown. And I'd assume they're going to throw the ball on 3rd and goal, which they do. We're all over everything. We just didn't put a spy out there, and it doesn't matter. They took their 3, which is cute, but you can't press our guy with 97 speed and a takeoff ability. I mean, they're just giving us a free touchdown. Were we ever able to put them away, though? No. With a minute left, they are trying to drive down the field versus our defense. They're only trailing by 7 points. And thankfully, they're doing dumb stuff like spiking the ball because they have no timeouts left, and Walker White took forever there. In these situations, literally every second counts, and they're gonna complete it. But once again, they have to take a while to spike it. I'm switching up our defense, though. They have been dotting it up way too often, and I'm not able to get over to that. They're gonna hurdle us, but we bring them down. That is massive right there. It was inbounds. I still can't believe they pulled out the hurdle. And now there's a flag on the play. I wonder if that's gonna deduct 10 seconds too. It is. They never got to run another one. I have not seen that happen in this game before, but I'll take the win. Chester Ellington had 5 total touchdowns, and that was not how I expected to close out the SEC championship, but Ole Miss finally has this trophy again. Now it's time for more awards and trophies though, and I'm surprised our offensive coordinator won Coordinator of the Year over our DC. Doesn't make much sense to me, but we weren't in the running for the Heisman. And even with the injury, missing like 4 games, Dante Priestley won the best running back in the country. I think he would have had the Heisman if he played. Of course, we're going to get some other awards just for being one of the top teams in the country. It's just automatic. And to my surprise, we have jumped Clemson in the rankings. We beat them earlier on in the season. We also have 1 less loss than them, so I'm glad that they got that correct. But Auburn's in the playoffs? The SEC bias is crazy, and even worse, they are on our side of the bracket. I have a bad feeling we're going to have to play them again. Looking at some of these dev traits, I want to see elites, but these guys might not matter next season because we could win it all. I can't believe this many players still want to transfer out with that on the line, and our opponent is going to be the Tigers. I actually can't do this. We're just getting a 3-game series throughout this season. They average just as many points per game as us, even though their overall is not as good. And what is going on with this bracket? Tulsa beat Notre Dame, and the SEC is also at the bottom part of it too. We can't escape it. The conference is everywhere. Chester Ellington's season stats don't really look good, but that's not factoring in his almost 600 rushing yards and 6 touchdowns. We seem to run the ball a lot more than throw it. And Raymond Irwin, once again, wide receiver number 1 with almost 1,000 yards and 10 touchdowns. It is time, though, for the trilogy of Auburn versus Ole Miss. And I'd really prefer if we were able to just run away with this one off the rip. Of course, that's probably not going to happen, though. Every time we score, they seem to respond. And I'm not kicking 3 once in this game. We have our starting running back into the lineup, and he has nowhere to go, but he breaks the tackle, and he fights for the first. I had already given up on the play. I was just accepting that we weren't going to get anything there. But Dante Priestley had other ideas, and I'm going to lean on him throughout the rest of this game because he's incredible. Now, our defense did get a stop on their last drive, and now we're going to have our drag route open. So we're starting to pull away a little bit. I think they just went with a double pass, though, and it wasn't open for them. That was an insane play call right there. They've also gone with man-to-man coverage, so we're going to have a touchdown, which means the longer this game goes on for, the more that we're just going to run away with it. And I'm going to try to make a play here with Ellington, though. If he throws a laser, we'd have a touchdown. He's not going to be perfect, though. He is a converted running back to QB, breaking a tackle, breaking another tackle, and I want to go for the hurdle, too. I was so happy, and I thought the game was over, but apparently not. With less than a minute left, Auburn is still in it. And it is so much fun using this team against anybody else besides them. I don't know why they always have to give us such a battle, but they have scored 23 points in the fourth quarter. 23 points, and they completed that pass while also getting close out of bounds. You can't make this type of stuff up. They still have a chance. I'm literally just protecting the sticks and backing everybody up though, because I don't want them to get any big plays versus us, and it seems like they're going to have to scramble. That could not end well. So Walker White throwing the ball away was the smart decision, though they might just send up a Hail Mary, and we better not give this one up. This is ridiculous. There is still a second left on the clock. I just want to knock off the Tigers one final time. Please, please, just make sure they don't get it. And I have no idea where that ball went, but apparently nobody caught it. That was stressful. Again, they scored 23 points in the fourth quarter, I think after we put in our backups. And even when you think something is over in this game, it never is. We've kind of lucked out with our next round opponent though. It's been a while since something like this has happened, and there's just no way that Tulsa is going to be able to compete with us. Just looking at their stats for the season, in a better conference, we averaged almost 50 more rushing yards, 5 more points, and they're an 81 overall. The expectations are very simple here. Just make sure we make it to the championship. And there was never a chance for Tulsa in this game. We can pretty much do whatever we want offensively versus them. So this entire matchup has just been touchdown after touchdown. It was not a very exciting semifinal matchup, but at the end of the day, it's fine with me. I just wanted to make it to the national championship. And I'm very curious who we're going to be playing in that game. It's either Oregon or Alabama. I'm leaning towards the Ducks, and we got them. Even if Oregon is better, I was hoping to not play another SEC school. And this is it right here. The entire video all comes down to whether or not we're good enough to take down the Ducks. Well, whether or not I'm good enough to take down Oregon, because we all know that this team is pretty amazing, but I myself am the problem. Ideally, all they're going to get out of this drive is going to be a field goal. We just have to hold them on third down, which we're going to do. And if we could just get a man-to-man look, that would be perfect, because we have a zig route out there, but it's still not enough. I think we should be able to hand this ball off though and take it in, which we're going to do. And then the Ducks scored almost immediately, which is really putting the pressure on us. That could have been picked. I really haven't used our tight ends much in this entire rebuild. We're going to hit the kick. But scoring really hasn't happened as often as you might have expected for a game like this. Going into the fourth quarter, it is 17-all. We really need to pick up this third and long, but it is underthrown. It's not put where it needed to be. And we literally just set the Ducks up for success. Holding them to a field goal would be massive. Nobody is over there though. And somebody definitely should have been. It was cover 2. There should have been a zone over there. They would get the first down, but they're not going to get anything on this third down. So they had to settle for a field goal. They only have a 3-point lead, and now if we're able to go down and score a touchdown, we'd take a lead. All it's going to take is Priestley getting a big handoff to a side and being able to outrun these defenders. But that did not happen right there. Instead, I ran backwards for 7 yards, and it is now 3rd and 22. There is not much hope going on over here, but they ran man-to-man coverage. So I'll let Aiden Williams get open versus something like that, and now we're going to roll out and try to make a play with Chester Ellington, and he's going to take it for 7. From here, we really should be able to just pound it in on the ground. And there's only 4 minutes left. I am going to roll out, probably take our running back, and that is dropped. See, that's why I need to listen to my own advice, especially after saying it. And I think this is 4 down territory if I want to win the championship and be aggressive. Never mind, we've pitched it backwards. At least we're going to scoop it up. But that is a missed opportunity. We had a touchdown right there, and it just didn't go where it needed to go. The pressure of getting a stop now is so stressful. This could be what we need from our defense, though. I see what we've left open, and there's just too much time. Thankfully, we did eventually get to their quarterback, and we're also going to have the 2-minute warning on our side. We still have 2 timeouts remaining. So we're set up to just get into field goal range and be able to ice this game. As of recently, though, I'm not a huge fan of running the ball unless we're stepping up versus man-to-man coverage and taking it. That seems a lot more efficient than these 2-yard handoffs. We're also completing the pass. And the Ducks are starting to feel some pressure. If they are already burning through timeouts, that means we're in field goal range. But we do need one more first down, and using the play action, I think we have an open tight end. That pass is perfect. Go down, go down. You have got to be kidding me. I was spamming that so he'd do it at the 1-yard line. But instead, Dylan Hipp, the whole reason I haven't been able to trust tight ends throughout this entire rebuild, doesn't go down at the 1. He goes down over the line. And now we have to lean on our defense for this final 92 seconds. It was great right there, though. We need to be great again. It seems like we did leave number 11 open. open. And I am going to give them some different looks. We can't just be having cover 4 out there. This one is cover 3, and I feel like there's way too much for me to guard. This is perfect. 4th and 16, game on the line, and all they're able to do is throw it straight to us. We're going to snag that interception, and this one is over. That is exactly what I was hoping for. We have closed out the national championship, and it could have taken even longer than 4 years to win it with Ole Miss. I will say, though, just seeing Dante Priestley's player model, he is one ugly dude. But that doesn't matter. With this trophy, girls will ignore it. That was a fun 4 years with Ole Miss, though. The SEC always makes these rebuilds super tough. And ultimately, I just hope that this scuff setup wasn't too horrible. The hurricane did ruin some things. But word on the street is my power is back, so I will be driving back to Tampa tomorrow after I have a nice day at one of the springs up here. And all future videos will be back at my normal setup, but make sure to check out some of these other rebuilds if you haven't seen it before.